Good evening and welcome back to Mission Control Houston for continuing coverage of the rendezvous and docking of the next trio to join the crew aboard the International Space Station as Expedition 33 crew members, Soyuz 35 crew members, Fyodor Yurshkin, Karen Nyberg, and Luca Parmitano hone in on the International Outpost as it orbits approximately 250 miles above Southeast Asia. Here in Mission Control, the team is watching carefully over systems of the International Space Station, making sure that it's ready to accept its new crew members aboard their Soyuz TMA-09M vehicle. The trio is now continuing its approach to the International Space Station per the normal timeline for rendezvous and docking. Again, docking is scheduled to occur tonight at 9:16 p.m. Central Time. While we've been away, there have been a couple of minor issues that the control team has been working as part of the normal activities leading up to a rendezvous and docking of this nature. Various systems on the space station are oriented to put the station in the proper location for the arrival of the Soyuz to the Rassvet module. There also are activities according to the plan to latch down beta gimbal assemblies, which are part of the solar arrays that help the space station's electricity generating power plants track the sun. One of those arrays, which has had minor difficulties in the past latching, didn't last the first time, but after a couple of tries they were able to get that latched and is now in a good position. We have handed over control of the orbiting outpost's attitude or orientation relative to the Earth from the American electric-driven control moment gyroscopes to the Russian chemical thrusters. Mission Control Moscow is now in charge of the control of the orientation or attitude of the International Space Station.
043300.
Mission Control is talking with the crew of the Soyuz spacecraft, commanded by Fyodor Yurshkin. And just about 24 minutes after the hour, the Soyuz crew reported they had a visual sighting of the International Space Station, a good sign as they continue to travel toward the space station according to the plots that are planned. Now about 8,000 meters away from the International Space Station, approaching at about 12 meters per second.
Command has been sent. Romeo 17. At 043307. 8 kilometers.
We are now 42 minutes and 12 seconds away from the planned docking. A lot of work yet to be done with several different impulse firings of the Soyuz engines to fine-tune the approach to the International Space Station. The fly-around mode should start at about 8:51 p.m. Central Time, and after that we'll do some station keeping starting at 8:58 p.m. Central Time, and then the final approach to the space station should begin about 9:05 p.m. Central. Again, all that aiming toward a rendezvous at the Rassvet docking module on the International Space Station at 9:16 p.m. Central Time.
We're standing by for stabilizing of the mode.
We do have some recorded video from this afternoon's launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, Houston time at least. Let's take a look at that video now.
You're receiving video on your...
And those were the sights and sounds from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan as an evening launch out at about 70 degrees, a beautiful day on the steppe of Kazakhstan as Karen Nyberg of NASA, Luca Parmitano of the European Space Agency and the Italian Space Agency, and Fyodor Yurshkin of the Russian Federal Space Agency blasted off for a destiny with the International Space Station. Here in the flight control room, again, the team is watching over all the space station's components and systems, making sure that it is ready to accept the new visitors. Royce Renfrew is the flight director in charge of the team for this Orbit 3 shift, with Kate Rubins, astronaut, serving as spacecraft communicator, talking primarily with Chris Cassidy, working in the American segment of the International Space Station, as flight controllers in Moscow talk with their Russian colleagues on board. Alexander Mazurkin and Commander Pavel Vinogradov as they prepare the Russian docking port for the arrival of the Soyuz and its crew members. Again, today's launch occurred at 3:31 p.m. Central Time, right on the money, and the Soyuz climbed into the sky above Kazakhstan on its normal place with all of its systems functioning exactly as planned.
And there are no issues to report. All systems are nominal. Copy, Olimpo. Thank you.
And as you heard there, no problems with the Soyuz vehicle or with the station systems, all systems nominal. And we are proceeding toward a rendezvous and docking in 38 minutes from now.
I have a very clear image of the station at the center of VSK.
Принято.
Copy. Moscow Station. We have the video image now. It's kind of all scrambled, but we do have the image. Okay, and it's 043840, 4 kilometers, and range rate is almost 12, but closer to 11.5 meters per second, and the station is at the very center of VSK.
Наблюдаем картинку.
Excellent, and we have a video now. Copy. Maneuver in progress. The station is going up and to the left. Almost there.
We're getting some great views from the external cameras on the International Space Station as it orbits high over Australia and the northeastern coast of that continent. We're standing by for an on-the-spot interview for the activities going on at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan following launch, where dignitaries and family members will be watching as the rendezvous and docking take place this evening.
All is nominal.
We are standing by to go to Rob Navius, our public affairs officer that's on site at the Baikonur launch site. Let's go to Rob now and find out how things are going there. Welcome in, Rob. Good to see you.
Kelly, welcome to Baikonur, Kazakhstan. We're in a vintage 1960s auditorium called the Tsenki Hall. This is a hall that was used half a century ago by Russian communications specialists as they sought to relax and watch movies from time to time, taking a break from their work. It's been just about 5 hours or so since the launch of the Soyuz from the Cosmodrome, which is about 40 minutes away. It was a jubilant crowd out at the viewing site for that liftoff and under cloudless skies, gorgeous weather in the pre-dawn hours today. That adrenaline has carried over, and within a few minutes, guests, family members, and VIPs will be coming into the hall here to watch the docking of the Soyuz to the Rassvet module, and about an hour or so later, the opening of the hatches to double the size of the Expedition 36 crew. Now, behind me in these seats, shortly will be family members in the second row. They'll have an opportunity through the magic of the internet and through some incredibly heroic efforts by NASA communications specialists here in Baikonur to pull in a NASA television video feed into this auditorium and to set up voice loops on a laptop computer that will enable the family members and the VIPs to communicate with the crew members, Nyberg, Parmitano, and Yurchikhin, as they float into the International Space Station to begin their half year aboard the orbital outpost. Also, we expect congratulatory calls to the crew from Bill Gerstenmaier, NASA's Associate Administrator for Human Exploration and Operations, from Jean-Jacques Dordain, the Director General of the European Space Agency, before we move on to hear from the family members as they speak to their loved ones. It is almost a surrealistic scene here at the Tsenki Hall in Baikonur, Kazakhstan. We've gone from the future back to the past, using technology from today and in the future to bring everybody together from here on Earth to the International Space Station. Now back to you, Kelly.
All right, thanks, Rob. And while you were giving us that update from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the Flight Director Royce Renfrew went around the room here for the go, no-go poll for readiness to dock to the International Space Station, the Soyuz 35 vehicle and its three-person crew, and got a unanimous go for docking from all of the International Space Station flight controllers here in the room. We have a view of the Soyuz as it begins to approach the International Space Station, coming within visual range of the external cameras on the exterior of the station. The Soyuz now about 2,000 meters away from the International Space Station, continuing to approach at a rate of about 5 meters per second.
310. A little less than 2 kilometers, 5.35 range rate. Copy.
And so about 2 kilometers until the Soyuz reaches the International Space Station. There are several more impulse bursts from the Soyuz thrusters to help refine this approach as the automated Kurs docking system continues to control the Soyuz and its arrival at the International Space Station. The most recent Progress vehicle to rendezvous and dock to the International Space Station, Progress 51, had some difficulties with deploying the Kurs antenna that's used for the automated rendezvous and docking system. No such problems with this Soyuz spacecraft. All the antennas and appendages deployed exactly as had planned, and so the Soyuz continuing its stately approach toward the International Outpost. Both vehicles traveling at approximately 17,500 miles an hour, circling the globe every 90 minutes. Right now circling overhead of Australia. Some amazing views from the external cameras on the International Space Station of the Australian continent below.
5.17 meters per second range rate. Olympus. All systems are nominal. Olympus. Can you switch AGC mode back and forth by sending command R5 to see if we can get a clear picture? Copy. Romeo 5. Okay, and don't rush. Let's take it easy. Command has been sent. Is this better, or do you want to?
And here's a look at some of the live telemetry and video pictures from the Soyuz 35 spacecraft as it brings Fyodor Yurchikhin, Karen Nyberg, and Luca Parmitano within clear visual range of the International Space Station. Now, just under 2 kilometers to the International Space Station, coming up on impulse burn number 5.
Copy, we're watching.
Continuing to refine the approach to the orbiting outpost.
At 04:46:30, 1,050 meters, range rate 3.45 meters per second. Copy. The station is...
The visiting vehicle officer here in Mission Control reports to Flight Director Royce Renfrew that Soyuz 35 spacecraft with a trio of space explorers is now 1 kilometer away from the International Space Station. The approach coming in at just under 3.5 meters per second. Lower left-hand corner of the screen on this downlink view from the external cameras, you can see the Soyuz as it continues to match orbits with the International Space Station.
How are you receiving the rendezvous display? Olympia, we're receiving a video of display. It's good quality, and we're braking still, so we're performing the next depot burn. Copy.
So yet another impulse burn coming up to continue slowing the rate of speed for the Soyuz spacecraft as it closes in, now about 3/4 of a kilometer from the International Space Station. We're slowing down from about 3.5 meters per second down to 2.5 meters per second, and that rate will continue to slow until the Soyuz matches speed with the International Space Station and begins its station keeping.
I have a very clear image of station in Veska. Copy. USOS, a large diameter, is getting closer to half of a square, and depots are on for retrograde burn, and rate is going down, and we're watching further.
More of that downlink telemetry from the Soyuz spacecraft. You can see that we are just about half a kilometer from the International Space Station. The distance to the station down the lower left-hand quadrant of this display. The rate of approach is slowed to 1.39 meters per second.
Half of a square. We copy.
International Space Station looming large in the Soyuz's cameras. It's the size of an American football field, including the end zones. As much room inside as a 5-bedroom house, complete with a gymnasium and a bay window that allows a unique view on the world below.
Another command for AJC mode. Just the same command, Romeo 5, to switch between AJC. Okay, sending command. How are you receiving a video now? This is much better, thank you. And you can use AJC mode at your discretion as necessary. Copy.
Visiting vehicle officer reports that the Soyuz spacecraft have begun its fly around. This is a slight change in its orientation relative to the station, and bringing it into alignment with the Rosvet docking port.
Range, and you're flying around? Yes, we're flying around at a range of 368 meters. Range rate is about 1 meter per second. In the C line, the first digit is 0. Copy.
Soyuz spacecraft disappearing behind one of the station's solar arrays as it begins to fly around and align itself with the docking port. Again, we are aiming toward a docking with the space station at 9:16 p.m. Central Time, just 22.5 minutes from now. About 5 minutes remaining in this station keeping until we begin station keeping after the Soyuz aligns itself with the docking port.
We still have fly around, lock on, 300 meters range. 0.68 meters per second range rate. Copy.
Olympus
at 0455. We might have LOS on this band for about 5 minutes. Copy at 0455. We might have LOS.
Soyuz maintaining a distance of about 300 meters as it does this fly around to align itself with the docking port. Once it is in general alignment with the docking port, we'll begin the station keeping period.
270 meters.
Station keeping scheduled to begin at 58 minutes before the hour.
Copy.
Or about 4 minutes from now. And then at 9:05 p.m. we will begin the start of final approach. The clouds of the South Pacific providing a majestic backdrop to the Soyuz as it closes in on the International Space Station. Of course, Commander Fyodor Yurshkin, NASA astronaut Karen Nyberg, and European Space Agency and Italian astronaut Luca Parmitano aboard that spacecraft. preparing to arrive at their new home away from home, the International Space Station. Visiting vehicle officer reports we've got about 15 degrees left to go before we're in alignment with the docking port.
Есть, Cap 15.
Rasviet's the name of that docking module. It is the Russian word for dawn, and it was delivered and installed on the International Space Station on May 14, 2010. Here's a graphic that depicts where Soyuz 35 TMA-09M will be docking on the Earth-facing port of that docking connection.
Page 63 is complete.
Now 18 minutes, 30 seconds to docking.
Только слишком рано. Я еще завкон.
This is too early. First, we need to do the Zavkon. So sorry. I'll wait.
And we've temporarily lost our signal through the tracking data relay satellite system, which is relaying that from the Moscow Mission Control Center here.
We can only receive it when we have KU-band, so please provide continuous.
We should be getting the
detailed comment.
connection back in just a few minutes here. This is an expected loss of signal period. All systems going very well with this Soyuz rendezvous and docking following today's 3:31 p.m. Central Time launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. A few minor hiccups in the preparations to get the space station ready to accept the arriving vehicle and crew, but the beta gimbal assembly that was not latching down properly, one of those systems that allows the solar arrays to best track the sun and provide maximum power generation, requiring a couple of different tries to get it latched, but then latching successfully and giving us the go for a nominal rendezvous and docking.
Есть переход на первый. Принято.
Confirm transition to inaudible 1.
Принято.
Copy.
On board the International Space Station, Commander Pavel Vinogradov and his Russian colleague Alexander Mazurkin, along with American Chris Cassidy, carefully monitoring the approach of the Soyuz spacecraft toward their home away from home.
We copy both.
Again, the Soyuz rendezvous is being directed by an automated docking system. But the crew is in the Russian segment of the space station ready to take manual control if there should be some unusual failure of the automated system. But so far it's working like a champ.
Скорость практически ноль.
Range rate is pretty much 0.
Принято. Ожидаем дальнейших указаний.
Stand by for further recommendations.
Принято.
Copy.
Аленка, разрешаем выдать причаливание.
Go to send final approach command.
Принято, выдаем команду.
Copy. Final approach command.
Готов сразу.
Arms, okay.
Выдаем команду причал.
Send in final approach command.
Не получаем.
We do not receive.
Принято.
Copy.
Олимпа, мы не получаем видеокартинку.
Speaking simultaneous.
Принято. Ведите подробный репортаж.
Proceed with the detailed report.
0,32.
0.32. 0.4.
Принято. 0,5. Пошли.
0.5.
0,7.
0.7.
0,8.
8.
Mission Control Moscow is giving the team aboard the Soyuz spacecraft and the International Space Station a go to begin the final approach, which may give them just a little bit ahead of schedule.
Copy.
Диаметр американского сегмента приближается к
The diameter of the USOS is getting close to 2 cells. Past 1.5.
Транслируйте нам данные по скорости и дальности.
Continue reporting range and range rate data.
0,8 скорость на сближение. Дальность
0.8 and closing, range 140. Copy.
картинку не получаем. Ведите подробный репортаж.
We do not receive the image.
По X, по Y. Значит, такого Принято. практически в центре ВСК.
Docking port is approximately 1/2 of the cell to the left from the VSCAT center.
Visiting vehicle officer giving Royce Renfrew, the flight director here in Mission Control, the news that the Soyuz is beginning its final approach.
Past 2 cells, where the larger diameter of the US segment is now larger than 2 cells. Copy.
0,60.
169 and closing,
Расстояние 100 метров.
range 100 meters.
Принято 100 метров.
100 meters. Copy.
Продолжайте вести репортаж.
Continue.
Четко наблюдаю стыковочный узел ВСК.
Clear visual of the docking port. It's clean.
Принято.
Copy.
Дальность, скорость.
Range and range rate.
93 метра скорость.
93 meters. 0.45 and closing.
We do have some video fresh in from Baikonur where the dignitaries and family members are watching. They were there for launch earlier today at 3:31 p.m. And now are there to watch the rendezvous and docking.
80 meters.
Among them, Doug Hurley, the husband of Karen Nyberg, who's aboard this Soyuz 35 spacecraft, getting ready to dock with the International Space Station, along with her colleagues Fyodor Yushchin at the controls and Luca Parmitano of the European Space Agency.
Скорость на сближение 0,36
136 meters.
Here is the up front and
метров.
close view from the cameras on the Soyuz spacecraft as it hones in on the Rosviet module. Again, that stands for Dawn.
More than one.
Стыковочного узла.
It is one of the Earth-facing docking ports of the International Space Station.
Copy.
0,3 скорость движения.
0.3 and closing.
Принято.
Copy.
Наблюдаем мишень.
We have visual of the target. Crosshairs are most aligned. One
Центр перекрестия.
cell to the right, one down from the center of the crosshair. Copy.
0,2 скорость на сближение.
0.2 and closing. 50 meters is the rate.
Принято.
Soyuz spacecraft now 50 meters out from the International Space Station, closing at just 1/4 of a meter per second.
Slowly moves towards the center of the crosshair. Copy.
Кресты собраны.
Crosshairs aligned.
Вас понял.
Copy.
0,15 скорость на сближение.
0.15 meters per second and closing.
Причал, замечаний нет.
Final approach, no issues.
Кресты собраны.
On the final approach, screen target is in place. Crosshairs aligned.
1,5 метра по диаметру стыковочного узла.
1.5 cells relative to the diameter of the docking port. SSVP readiness confirmed.
Принято.
Copy.
0,13.
0.13 and closing.
Небольшие такие колебания.
Very small fluctuations, meaning target relative to the crosshair.
Visiting vehicle officer reports that the Soyuz docking mechanism is now powered up and ready to make contact with the Rasyet docking port.
Close, copy.
Here's another look at that telemetry as both picture and data tell the story.
From the crosshair,
Вниз одна клетка.
by one cell to the right, by one cell down.
По центру. Кресты
Here's the line.
скорость сближения.
0.15 is the range rate and closing.
Soyuz now just 40 meters away from the International Space Station docking port.
Мишень вправо одна.
Target
Вниз одна
one
клетка.
cell to the right, one
Кресты собраны.
down relative to the crosshair center. Crosshair is aligned. 0.15 meters per second and closing. Our range is 30 meters. 30.
Принято, подтверждаем.
Copy and confirm.
Мишень.
Target
Одна клетка вниз от центра.
one cell down from the center of the
Distance to target now 29 meters.
Скорость
Soyuz coming in very slowly at 0.15 meters per second.
copy.
Docking systems powered and ready to latch.
Приближаемся к 3 клеткам по
Getting close to the 3 cells relative to the width of the docking port. Copy.
Скорость сближения 0,15.
0.15 meters per second and closing.
Мишень практически.
You can see the thrusters of the Soyuz firing as it refines its approach.
Есть небольшое движение вправо-вниз, одна клетка.
Small drift to the right by one cell.
Есть небольшое расхождение
Small
по тангажу.
deviation and pitch channel. Copy.
Мишень четко в центре
Target is in the center of the crosshair. Crosshair is aligned.
Антенна есть, ССВП готов.
SSVP availability confirmed. Yes, we confirm the
Visiting vehicle officer reporting to Flight Director Royce Renfro that we're 20 meters out.
Кресты
crosshair is aligned.
расхождение по крену.
We have roll discrepancy.
You can see the changing colors as a sunset is in the offing.
Copy.
Ожидаем выравнивания.
Then the bifid trimming.
Нормально.
But further, that's okay. Okay, roll trimming confirmed. Target is in the center of crosshair. Crosshair is aligned. 0.6 and closing. Now 0.1.
Принято.
You can see that black circle with the white crosshairs, the docking target that the automated systems are honing in on. In your upper left-hand corner is the docking port itself.
Центр мишени, одна клетка, чуть
Target center is less than one cell below the crosshair. Crosshair
14 meters out.
подход плавный.
approach is smooth.
Ширина мишени 1,5.
Target length is 1.5 cells, slightly less.
Принято.
Copy.
Кресты
Crosshair is aligned.
перекрестие.
Target is in the center of the crosshair, 0.11 meters per second and closing. Copy.
Есть база
Buzzer air confirmed.
ССВП.
SSVP is ready.
Вас понял. Есть
Copy.
небольшое расхождение по крену.
Small
Выравнивается.
misalignment and roll. Trimming and progress.
Собраны.
Target is at the center of the crosshair. Crosshair is aligned.
Пол клетки вправо,
Half cell to the right.
вниз от центра перекрестия.
Half cell down relative to the center of the crosshair. Copy.
Как принять?
I'll copy.
Одна клетка
10 meters out.
To the left.
перекрестия.
We copy all. We copy loud and clear.
Расхождение по крену.
We have
5 meters.
Клетки.
discrepancy. Target width is 3 cells. Trimming in progress. Crosshair is aligned.
От центра перекрестия.
Half cell from the center of the
Мишень
crosshairs.
практически в центре перекрестия.
Target is pretty much at the center of the crosshair. 113.11 and closing. The target is in the center. 4 cells standing by for contact. Target in the center of crosshair. Depot firing confirmed.
Contact confirmed. We have a initial docking of the Soyuz 35 spacecraft carrying Commander Fyodor Yurshikin, NASA astronaut Karen Nyberg, and European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano with the International Space Station.
10:30, copy.
Preliminary docking time was 9:10 p.m. Central Time. We'll work to get you a final official time in a moment.
Yes, go ahead, Vladimir Alexeyevich.
Ну что, как и говорил,
Oh, Fedor,
Пашки далеко.
as I mentioned, faster than anyone. You've been faster than Pavel. Well, actually, it took us 4 hours, 47 minutes.
Продолжаем работать.
All continue working the procedure.
Параметры КДУ.
Write down the parameters. Turn on S7.
Standing by for the hooks and latches to drive and create a firm bond between the Soyuz spacecraft and the International Space Station's Rassvet docking module. Visiting vehicle officer reports the hooks are beginning to drive.
RPZ-1. Closed. This is MC Moscow. I copy you now. We had a short dropout. We are standing by for KDO parameters. All IMs, how copy? We copy you now, so please repeat last statement. Standing by for KDO parameters as on page 66. Bottle 1 pressure 175. Bottle 2 pressure 230. Prop 507 on both. Copy, thank you. Send Romeo 7 command, now Romeo 6. We turned off the floodlight and closed RPV-1. Copy, standing by for the...
Once again, here's a look at the visitors gallery. At the far end there on the left side of your screen, you can see Doug Hurley, the husband of Karen Nyberg, the newest resident of the International Space Station. As soon as the hooks and latches complete their driving, staying there with Brian Kelly from the Aircraft Operations Division here at NASA.
Bow pressure 805.
Again, everything went very well. Today's successful docking of the Soyuz 35 carrying Fyodor Yurshikin, Luca Parmitano, and Karen Nyberg to the International Space Station. Still unofficial time, but it was at 9:10 p.m. Central Time, occurring as the space station and the Soyuz flew about 250 statute miles over the South Pacific on a northeasterly track that will soon be taking over the northwest portion of South America.
Copy. D710. Visual причал. Is turned is in process of turning off. Okay. Your go. I sent the command. Command was successful. Copy. Copy all. Standing by on D15. LED on. Hooks closed. Copy.
Вижу там пальчик. Да.
Yes.
Есть загорание транспаранта.
LED is on.
15.
15. Copy.
Есть погашение D13.
D12 is no longer illuminated. Copy.
13. Ожидаем загорание защелки втянуты Г-17.
Standing by for latch retraction LED on. Copy.
And the remote interface officer reporting relaying information from Mission Control Moscow that so far the Soyuz side hooks have closed, but we're still awaiting the latches to sync up with the Rosviet module latches. And now we're receiving a report that the Rosviet module's hooks have closed as well. So we are moving along very well in terms of having a good structural bond between the new Soyuz TMA-09M spacecraft at its docking port, Rosviet module, the Earth-facing port at the end of the Zarya control module on the station. Flight control team here in Houston continues to monitor the activities on orbit very carefully, watching over the space station systems as its next activity, once we get a full connection with the newly arrived people carrier, will be to set the International Space Station into a
Yes. Горит Г-17.
Г-17 is on.
handover where the U.S.
Г-17 is eliminated.
control moment gyroscopes resume controlling the orientation or attitude of the station relative to the Earth.
Да. Иду на формат SSVP, потом.
I'm navigating to SSVP format because I can't see the data here. Okay?
Для режима SSVP выполнен.
The mode is complete.
Есть загорание транспаранта Дмитрия.
D11 LED.
Russian thrusters firing to maneuver the space station into the local vertical, local horizontal orientation, the standard orbital orientation as the station speeds around the planet.
Погашен.
LED is no longer on.
11.
D8, D11, D12,
Г-17.
D17,
С-11 и режим
D11,
больше не горит.
SSVP mode complete. No longer eliminated.
Олимпия, вы обогнали
Olymps.
экипаж Каратов на 6 минут.
Okay, you are 6 minutes faster than Karat's crew was. Oh well,
Это новый рекорд быстрой схемы. Не обогнала,
you guys set new record.
В 05:28
At 05:28:45,
замер по герметичности, и потом продолжим работу. По 68.
doing the lick check and then proceed with the page 58, 05:28:45.
Attitude, Determination, and Control Officer here in Mission Control, reporting to Flight Director Royce Renfrew that the Russian thrusters are now maneuvering the space station back into its normal orbiting orientation. Once that maneuver is complete, the American electricity-driven control moment gyroscopes will take back over the control of the orientation of the space station. And Fyodor Yurshikin receiving words from Mission Control Moscow that he made a very smooth and effective rendezvous with the International Space Station, 6 minutes under the previous record time. Of course, speed is not of the essence. Precision is the key, and he was right on the money as the spacecraft rendezvoused and docked to the Rassvet module of the International Space Station.
Hello? Fyodor? Can you copy me? Yes, I can copy you. This is Vladimir Lapota. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Vitaly Alexandrovich. Okay, guys. You are doomed to success. I told you before you launched. Yes, you were right. And I would like to thank everybody who believed in us. To thank the crew. Excellent work by everyone. So thanks for everything. I guess you were the one worrying most during launch because the guys, their pulse was 56 and 60, and you had 67. Fyodor? Yes? Thank you for the excellent spacecraft. Worked better than the best watch there is. Well, that was very nice to hear. Okay, now we see your picture on the screen. Now, can your crew say a word? Yes. Hello. I'm in great spirits. Everything is just super. I never felt better in my life. Thank you. Good job. How about Karen? Wonderful. Terrific, Karen. Okay, guys. My congratulations to all of you. You've done it. Thank you. It's not just us, it's all of us who did that. Well, normally we're invisible, guys. It's all about you. You're the ones on the frontier, right in the white horse. Okay, guys. I'll be signing off now. Again, everybody, thank you very much. And also our gratitude to those who built this wonderful spacecraft and who were getting it ready for the space flight. Okay. Rest assured, I'll convey your words to them. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's hard to describe. I can't find enough words to thank you all, guys. Thank you.
Види.
Москва, Олимп.
Moscow Olymps.
Олимп, привет, суд Москвы.
Go ahead, this is Moscow.
Да, похоже, больше не будет.
Okay, I believe
Да, перевели вас обратно.
will not have any more come here. Yes, we reconfigured the comeback.
Через 2 минуты.
In 2 minutes, we're expecting another measurement. It's just a reminder. Okay, slightly more than 2 minutes left.
В 05:30
At 05:30,
автоматически его будем ждать тоже обязательно. Вручную.
OBR will be sent automatically. We'll be standing by for that. No manual commandations. Copy.
Олимп, отключение
Olymp,
антенн Г2 выдавали или нет?
did you send G2 deactivation of antenna heaters? No, not yet.
Вас понял.
Copy.
Выдаем?
Are we go to command? Yes.
Давайте.
G2 in work.
Уже выдали?
Okay, G2 is sent. Okay, great.
Сказали, выдали. Мы быстро.
You know, we're fast.
Извините.
You mentioned it,
Ничего страшного.
so we did it. Okay.
Выдавать надо будет.
Sorry, we probably jumped ahead. No problem. You have less commands to send.
Дождемся.
Okay, let's wait for the measurements and then proceed with the rest of the steps.
Москва.
Moscow Station, NSG2.
На связи.
Go ahead.
На связи. Так, по поводу
About
какие у нас будут
pressure equalization valve covered. Any recommendations?
КВД МИМ-1 ТК переводим в положение электроуправления.
Madam 2, Soyuz hatch, mode to electrical, copy and work,
57.
pressure 857, and all zeros.
Олимп, повторите, пожалуйста.
Называю.
Давай, везде.
Speaking simultaneously.
Данные по герметичности.
Give me the leak check data.
Значит, параметры.
Okay, 50, over 15 minutes, all three parameters zero. So, okay, copy.
Ну, сейчас понял.
And this is Mission Control Houston back with a view of the room where folks are continuing to monitor the International Space Station systems following today's successful rendezvous and docking of the Soyuz TMA-09M spacecraft carrying the Soyuz 35 crew commanded by Fyodor Yurshikin along with his colleagues NASA astronaut Karen Nyberg and European space astronaut Luca Parmitano launching from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan exactly on time at 3:31 p.m. Central Time today, going through a quick and 6-hour long 4-orbit rendezvous, completing a docking unofficially at 9:10 p.m. Central Time as the space station and the Soyuz flew overhead of the South Pacific a little bit earlier than had been planned in the flight plan, but very smooth and systematic rendezvous and docking. The hooks and latches have all been driven closed successfully, making a firm mechanical connection between the Soyuz and the space station, and everything is looking good as the crew goes through through its procedures to make sure that all systems on the spacecraft are safe and that we begin initial pressure checks to equalize pressures between the Soyuz spacecraft and the Rassvet docking module on the Earth-facing port of the space station. We will wrap up our coverage of the rendezvous and docking now. We will be back for our hatch opening and welcome ceremony coverage at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. We expect hatches to open about 10:55 p.m., but if the crew continues to go ahead of the timeline, that may happen a little early. And then at 10:30 p.m. Central, we'll have our post-docking news conference replay. This is Mission Control Houston.